Well, this time we're going to start with a topic about modals. In this class, we are going to learn how to use the modal verbs in English. Look at this picture. He may, might, could go to Wonderland if he finds out that there doesn't exist rents. As you can see here in this sentence, you can use may, might, or could when we are not 100% sure if it's real or if it's true. We use may, might, or could when we are not, we don't have 100% of certainty that that is real. It's like a probability. Look at this picture. Say, he must be worthy. So it's something that we think it could be. That's why we use must. We are suggesting or we are saying that that dog is worthy. It's like a 95% of certainty, maybe. And look at this picture. The sentence says, he can't be in a conventional competition. He only has one arm. So you are pretty sure that it's not a conventional competition. It might be a special competition for disabled people. That's why we use can't, because you are pretty sure that it's not a conventional competition. How do you use these modal verbs? We have some modal verbs like may, might, and could that we use to express possibility in the present or future. We use might to express slight possibility. We use must and can't when we want to express logical deduction and refer to the present. And must expresses positive deduction. And can expresses negative deduction. Look at the example. Barry can run really fast. So we are using the modal verb can to express ability. Stephen is able to speak English. Notice that can and is able to has the same meaning in these sentences. So is able to is used to express ability. He could finish his homework on time. All these modals expresses ability. He was able to read all the collection in 1 week. Notice the difference. When we use can, is in simple present, is able to is in simple present too, could in past, and was able to is used in past. So we can use the able to when we are talking about present and past. And we use able to when it's possible to use it in present, past, and future. It's mostly used when we can't use can. For ability, we use can to talk about ability in the present and could to talk about in the past. We use be able to talk about abilities in the present, past, or future. And we can use could or was, were able to talk about general ability in the past. Notice these examples. Can I have a piece of paper? In this sentence, we are asking for permission. Notice that these sentences are written in questions. Can, could, or may I use the restroom? We can use these modal verbs to ask for permission. Notice that we have the verb in the base form. And you can use can't or won't be allowed or don't be allowed or be allowed in negative when we want to deny it or when we want to deny a permission. You can't smoke here or you won't be allowed to smoke here. For permissions, we use can, could, or may. And to refuse a permission, you can use can't, may not, and we use can or be allowed to talk about permissions in the present or future. To talk about the past, we use could or was, were allowed to for general permissions and was, were allowed to for permissions on a particular occasion. Notice these other examples. Can you give me my pen? Would you help me with my homework? Can I call the doctor? Could I call the doctor? Shall I call the doctor? You can call the doctor. You could call the doctor. You shall call the doctor. This is a mistake you have in the last sentence because it shouldn't have the question mark. But anyways, you use these modal verbs when you want to make requests. When you want requests, or you want to ask for something, you do it with modal verbs. Request, offers, and suggestions. We use can, could, will, or would to ask someone to do something for us. We use can, should, can, could, shall I, or would you like me to offer to do something for someone. Example, we use can to suggest something. So we can say, would you like me to help you? Would you like me to open the door for you? Modal for necessity and suggestions. Modal verbs are helping or auxiliary verbs that express ideas like ability, necessity, and prohibition. Many modal verbs have more than one meaning. They are always followed by the simple form of a verb. Let's see some examples. Describing necessity. You have to get a passport. You must get a visa for some countries. You need to take money. When you use you have to, is necessary to do that. You must get a visa for some country is something that you have to do, it's mandatory. And you need to take money, you just need to when you have a necessity. For some countries, you don't have to get any vaccinations. When you use don't have to, that means that it's a lack of necessity. Must, need to, have to, don't have to. For giving suggestions, you use better, ought to, should, and shouldn't. Look at the examples. You'd better talk to your father. You ought to go with someone. You should take warm clothes. You shouldn't go by yourself. Had better or apostrophe better, ought to, should, shouldn't. So all these are used to give suggestions. How you use these modal verbs? Must, have to, and need to. Must is used to show that we are certain something is true. In general, must expresses personal obligation. We must show our passport at the airport. Have to is when something is mandatory. We often use have to say that something is obligatory in general. Have to express in personal obligation. John has to wear a tie at work. Children have to go to school. Need to we can use to say something is necessary or unnecessary. You usually need to check in at least 2 hours before a flight leaves. I don't need to take a raincoat. Had better, ought to, We use had better to give advice about specific situations, not general ones. Example, you'd better tell her everything. Ought to is used to advise or make recommendations. Also expresses assumptions or expectation as well as strong probability. Example, you ought to stop smoking. That's a recommendation, and this stock ought to increase value probability. And should is mostly used when offering advice or opinion. Example, you should see the new James Bond movie. It's great. People should worry more about global warming. And that was the class for modal, for different ways to use. I hope you enjoyed the